Stop asking whether God has forgotten you. The more urgent question is what has been happening inside your mind while you have been waiting. Chosen one, this warning is not spoken against you. It is spoken for you. God is not pointing at your weakness. He is drawing your attention to something exhaustion has trained you to ignore, because what you fail to notice can quietly shape every choice you make. You can remain faithful and still become mentally overloaded. You can pray with a sincere heart. You can believe that something greater is coming. But when every thought competes with 10 others, divine silence and internal interference can begin to feel exactly the same. That is the danger. The danger is not that the door has disappeared. It is not that your opportunity was given away. It is not that your gift was removed. The danger is that something important may already be within reach, while brain fog, distraction, and years of survival keep you from recognizing it. Before this message ends, 3 things will become clear. First, you will see the signs that reveal when waiting has turned into mental interference. Second, you will understand why forcing yourself to try harder can create even more noise. Third, you will learn about an 8-minute method designed to support a more synchronized state of mind. Do not accept these words only because they sound spiritual. Listen carefully. Examine what is useful. But do not dismiss this warning because it asks you to face a condition that has become so normal you stopped realizing how deeply it affects you. Maybe you have noticed it already. You sit down to complete one simple task. Then another thought appears. Your attention shifts. A memory interrupts you, a message pulls you away, and within minutes your energy is gone before the real work has even started. You call it a lack of discipline. You tell yourself to push harder. You consume more advice. Yet the harder you force concentration, the more tired and scattered you feel, because pressure is being added to a mind that is already carrying too much. This does not always mean you are lazy. It does not always mean your faith is weak. It may mean your attention has become fragmented. That distinction can change everything. It moves you away from shame. It helps you stop treating confusion as your identity. It gives you a place to begin, because a condition that can be recognized can also be supported with better choices. The final revelation is not that you need to become someone new. The clear, creative, perceptive person you remember may still be there, waiting beneath the noise and ready to be heard again. If this describes what you have been feeling, write "I choose clarity" in the comments. Do not write it as a superstition. Write it as a decision to stop calling confusion permanent and to pay attention to what exhaustion has been hiding. Stay with this message. The first sign is not simple distraction. It happens when you receive a clear thought, then immediately distrust it, analyze it, and bury it under fear before it can guide your next step. The first sign appears in ordinary moments. A simple decision starts feeling strangely heavy. You open an email and stare at it. You know a reply is needed, but your mind produces 10 possible outcomes until the smallest action feels larger than it really is. So, you keep researching. You watch another video. You ask for another sign. The information increases, but the decision does not become clearer because the real problem is no longer missing knowledge. It is the weight surrounding the moment of choice. The second sign is more subtle. A clear thought arrives quickly. You know who to call. You sense which direction deserves attention. Then fear enters. Old memories begin speaking, and within seconds the original insight is buried under analysis. This is the sacred signal gap. It is the distance between what you first recognize and what you finally allow yourself to believe. The first signal may be quiet, while the noise that follows is loud, familiar, and connected to painful experiences you have survived. The third sign is that rest no longer restores you. Your body sits down, but your mind keeps moving. You scroll, compare, and search. Even when the room is quiet, your inner world stays crowded. because silence outside you does not always create silence within you. More information can create less recognition. That is why another message or burst of motivation may not solve the problem. You do not always need more input. Sometimes you need enough internal space to recognize what has already been placed in front of you. Here is the first breakthrough. The silence you feel does not automatically mean God has withdrawn. It may mean the receiver is overloaded. The signal can remain present, while exhaustion, fear, and fragmented attention make guidance difficult to separate from noise. You were not abandoned. You may simply be exhausted. Let that truth remove some shame. You do not have to punish yourself into clarity. You can admit that your faith is real, while also admitting that your mind has carried more than it can organize. A distracted mind can overlook small opportunities. It can delay one helpful conversation. It can dismiss one useful idea. It can walk past a simple next step because that step does not look dramatic enough to match the breakthrough you imagined. The answer may arrive as a name that returns to your mind. It may be an email you need to send. It may be one honest decision that feels ordinary, but creates movement after a long season of waiting. Now hold this question. What if the clarity you have been praying for is not gone, but the mental condition that helps you recognize it has been weakened? A neurologist in New York and a research team were presented as exploring a short auditory sequence connected to cooperation between the two sides of the brain. The method takes about 8 minutes a day. The full explanation will come later. For now, notice what your own life is showing you. Heavy decisions, buried insights, rest that does not restore. These are not proof that you are broken. They may be signs that your inner receiver has carried too much noise for too long. The next part reveals why this happens. It shows how survival, divided attention, and emotional residue create static inside the mind, and why trying harder can sometimes make that static even louder. Now the warning can be named. It is the receiver warning. God may still be sending direction, but the part of you that notices, evaluates, and acts has become crowded by static. Think of a radio receiving a real signal through heavy interference. The station has not vanished. The message has not stopped. But the noise between the source and the receiver makes every word harder to recognize, and eventually you may assume nothing is being transmitted at all. The same pattern can appear inside your life. You pray for guidance, you ask for clarity. Then, survival, distraction, and emotional pressure fill the space where recognition should happen. The answer may be present, but it competes with too many louder voices. The first source of static is survival repetition. You wake up and move through the same reactions. You solve the same emergencies. You choose what feels familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves you, because the mind often mistakes repetition for safety. This is how an old season keeps controlling a new one. The environment may change, the opportunity may change, yet your responses remain organized around what hurt before, so every new door is judged by the memory of an old disappointment. The second source of static is divided attention. Messages arrive, notifications appear, responsibilities overlap. One unfinished task follows you into the next, and your mind loses the quiet space required for a complete thought to form. This is why more effort can fail. You are not adding strength to a clear system. You are adding pressure to a crowded one, and pressure often makes the loudest thought feel urgent even when it is not important. The third source of static is emotional carryover. Yesterday follows you into today. One rejection changes how you hear a new invitation. One betrayal changes how you interpret kindness. One failure makes a fresh opportunity feel dangerous before you have examined it. You are not only responding to what is happening now, you are also responding to what happened before. That is why two people can see the same open door, while one sees possibility and the other sees another way to be hurt. Here is the second breakthrough. Trying harder is not always the answer. When the receiver is overloaded, more force can create more static. You do not need to abandon discipline, but you may need to stop using pressure as your only method of change. Take 2 quiet minutes today. Put the screen down. Write one decision you have delayed. Then ask yourself one honest question. What do I already know, but keep postponing because action would require me to leave the familiar? Do not demand a dramatic answer. Notice the first responsible step. It may be a call. It may be a boundary. It may be a page you need to read. Clarity often becomes visible after movement begins, not before every uncertainty disappears. This message is not for someone chasing another dramatic prediction. It is for the person ready to become clear enough to ACT. Imagine waking tomorrow without immediately entering mental chaos. You know the first priority. You complete one meaningful action before the noise takes over. The day is not perfect, but your attention belongs to you again. That is the vision behind this warning. Not constant certainty, not instant success. A clearer inner condition, where logic, imagination, faith, and responsible action can begin working together instead of pulling you in opposite directions. And this is why your past matters. There was a time when curiosity came more naturally. You could imagine without immediately judging every idea. You could become absorbed in one thing, and the world did not always feel divided into endless demands. That ability may not be gone. It may be buried beneath years of survival and trained distraction. To understand how it can be supported, we must return to the person you were before the world taught you to fragment your attention. There was a time when your mind moved differently. You asked questions without fear. You followed curiosity without needing every answer first. A simple object could become a whole world, because imagination and attention worked together before pressure taught them to separate. You did not measure every idea by profit. You did not reject every impulse because it looked impractical. You could explore, create, and wonder. That freedom was not childish weakness. It was a natural form of mental cooperation. Then life became heavier. School rewarded certain answers. Work rewarded repetition. Stress rewarded speed. Little by little, curiosity was replaced by caution, and imagination was pushed aside by the constant need to solve the next problem. This is the childhood genius disconnect. It is the distance between the mind you once used naturally and the mind adulthood trained you to use for survival. It does not mean you must become a child again. It means logic, imagination, focus, and intuition were never meant to live in separate rooms. When these abilities stop cooperating, life begins to feel narrow. You can analyze a problem, but cannot imagine a new answer. You can sense a direction, but cannot trust it. You can dream about change, but cannot organize the first step. This is why your gifts may feel distant. They may not be gone. They may be covered by habits that helped you survive, but now prevent you from seeing beyond what is familiar. Your intuition is not necessarily broken. It may be speaking beneath a louder layer of fear, comparison, and unfinished stress. The first signal comes quietly, then the trained mind demands proof, predicts rejection, and creates enough doubt to silence what you noticed. Think about the moments when your best ideas arrive. They often appear in the shower. They come during a walk. They surface when you stop forcing the answer, because the mind finally has enough space for different abilities to work together. This does not mean every thought is divine direction. Discernment still matters, facts still matter, wise counsel still matters. But constant noise can make careful discernment impossible because you cannot evaluate a signal you never allow yourself to hear. What was trained out of reach can sometimes be practiced back into reach. That is the hope inside this warning. You are not being asked to manufacture a new gift. You are being invited to support a connection that may already exist beneath the pressure. Imagine receiving an idea. testing it responsibly, and moving before fear turns a simple step into an impossible mountain. The change would not remove every doubt, but it could create a better inner condition for choice. If these words describe something you have lost, write "What was buried is still alive" in the comments. Do not write it as a magical formula. Write it as recognition that exhaustion does not own the final definition of who you are. The next discovery matters because it gives language to this feeling of separation. Research into the two hemispheres of the brain helped reveal that different mental functions can specialize, while meaningful performance depends on how the whole system works together. That research does not prove every promise made by every audio program, but it helps explain why cooperation may matter more than forcing one ability to dominate. The next part will reveal 3 ways the sacred signal gap appears in daily life. One of them may explain why you keep receiving insight without execution, while another may expose why you wait for permission that fear will never give. Now the warning reaches its turning point. You may have believed the danger was choosing the wrong road, but the deeper danger is making every decision from a divided state, where fear, fatigue, and old memories speak before clarity has time to form. The sacred signal gap appears first as insight, without execution. You receive an idea. It feels clear for a moment. Then you delay, research, compare, and wait until the original energy disappears beneath a mountain of imagined problems. The answer is not blind action. It is responsible movement. Take the idea and reduce it to one step that requires less than 10 minutes, because action gives the mind new information that endless thinking can never provide. Send one message, write one paragraph, open one document, make one call. A small step does not guarantee success, but it breaks the cycle where every possibility remains trapped inside your head. The second form is prayer without recognition. You ask for direction, but expect the answer to arrive with thunder. You wait for certainty so complete that no courage is required, while quieter and more practical signals continue passing through your day. A name returns to your mind. A conversation becomes available. A useful book appears. None of these things must be treated as supernatural proof, but each can be examined with discernment, evidence, and wise counsel. God does not require you to abandon judgment. Faith is not carelessness. A clear signal should survive honest questions, because real discernment becomes stronger when emotion, reason, and responsibility are allowed to work together. The third form is desire without permission. You know what you want to build. You know what needs to change. Yet part of you still waits for someone from the old season to approve the person you are becoming. Ask yourself this question: am I waiting for guidance, or am I waiting to feel no fear? Fear may not disappear before movement. Sometimes, courage means taking a responsible step while uncertainty is still present. The goal is not reckless confidence. The goal is enough inner cooperation to recognize what deserves attention and what must be released. Imagine receiving a small opportunity tomorrow. Instead of dismissing it, you investigate it. Instead of worshipping it, you test it. You ask better questions, take one measured step, and allow reality to provide information. That is what clarity looks like in practice. It is not a constant emotional high. It is the ability to notice, evaluate, and act without letting every old wound control the process. Now return to the question opened earlier. What if the clarity you have been praying for is still present, but the condition that helps you recognize it needs support? The 8-minute method mentioned before was presented as a way to support greater cooperation between mental capacities. It is not a miracle. It is not a command from God. It is a practical tool built around an auditory sequence intended to encourage synchronization. The discovery matters because the problem is now clear. You do not merely need more motivation. You need logic, imagination, attention, and action to stop pulling in opposite directions. This is the full closure of the warning. The issue is not that blessing has vanished. The issue is not always a lack of effort. The issue may be a weakened ability to recognize, evaluate, and move when an opportunity appears. That is why the next section matters. It will explain the research concept behind the method, the people who introduced it, the experience reported by users, and the exact offer connected to it. Listen with discernment. Keep your judgment. Do not let excitement decide for you. But do not let automatic skepticism close the door before you have understood what is actually being presented. The question is no longer whether you need another dramatic sign. The question is whether you are willing to support the mind through which every practical answer must pass. Now we can examine the method itself. The question is not whether one side of your brain is good and the other is bad. The real question is how different mental capacities cooperate when you focus, imagine, evaluate, and act. Research associated with Roger Sperry helped establish that the brain hemispheres can show specialized functions. That work does not directly prove the claims of any modern audio product. The useful idea is simpler. Analysis, imagination, recognition, and action serve you better when they cooperate instead of competing for control. This is where the product presentation introduces its solution. Before naming it, consider two experiences described in the material. They are personal reports, not guarantees, and your results may be different. One report describes a nurse in California. Her work was demanding, her mind kept racing, and she had already heard many promises about focus. According to the presentation, she began using a short audio sequence as part of her daily routine. She reportedly felt calmer and more mentally organized during difficult workdays. That does not prove the same outcome for everyone. It shows the kind of experience the product is designed to support. Another report describes a man running a Shopify store in Texas. He struggled with distraction and delayed decisions. According to the presentation, he used the audio for 8 minutes a day and noticed that he could remain with one problem longer. The report does not promise income. It describes a change in focus that helped him approach decisions with less scattering. The product is called the Genius Switch. The Genius Switch is presented as an 8-minute digital audio track. It is associated in the product material with Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York, and with an approach described as neural sync technology. The presentation says the sequence is designed to support synchronization and what it calls whole brain activation. These are product claims, not a medical diagnosis or a guaranteed treatment. The routine is simple. You use headphones, you sit somewhere safe, you close your eyes if comfortable, then listen for about 8 minutes. You do not need a complicated ritual, a mantra, or hours of daily practice. Do not use it while driving or during any task, requiring full attention. Missing one day does not mean failure, and listening longer does not automatically create better results. The presentation does not claim every other meditation is useless. It describes this sequence as a targeted protocol, which you should still examine carefully before deciding whether it fits your needs. This tool does not replace prayer. It does not replace discernment. It does not make decisions for you. It is presented as support for the mental condition through which you notice, evaluate, and act. This is not for everyone. It is for the person who is no longer willing to confuse exhaustion with destiny and who wants a simple daily practice that may support greater mental clarity. Buying it does not prove that you are chosen. Refusing it does not make your faith weaker. The decision should come from understanding, not pressure. If you try it, listen for 8 minutes each day at a comfortable volume. Give the routine a fair trial while paying attention to your own experience without inventing results. The main offer includes lifetime digital access to the Genius Switch. The product is delivered digitally, so there is no shipping process. The presentation also includes 4 additional bonuses. The first bonus is a guided visualization for desired outcomes connected to money, love, health, and happiness. It can support focus, but cannot guarantee a specific result. The second bonus is a smart grocery shopping guide. It may help organize purchases, but savings depend on location, prices, habits, and personal choices. The third bonus is a classic book about manifestation and financial thinking. It is additional reading, not a formula for wealth or guaranteed income. The fourth bonus is a 5 habits infographic, a visual reminder that can be printed and placed where you will see it. The presentation uses a reference value of $500 and lists a regular price of $49. The current page presents the offer at $39. That price may change. The offer includes lifetime access, the 8-minute audio, and 4 bonuses. The official page also presents a money-back guarantee. You should read the current terms before purchasing because refund periods and conditions must always be verified at the time of payment. A guarantee reduces financial risk, but $39 is still real money. Never use funds needed for food, housing, medicine, or essential bills. The honest urgency is not that God will remove your blessing. It is that another month of distraction can become another month of delayed action. The current price may change, but that is never a reason to abandon judgment. Use only the official source provided in the description or pinned comment. Similar names or copied audio files can appear elsewhere, and an unofficial source may not include the correct product, bonuses, support, or refund terms. Check the product name, check the payment page, check the guarantee. These simple steps protect you from confusion, because clarity should guide the purchase just as much as it guides every other decision. If this problem feels familiar, read the official presentation. Review the mechanism, access, bonuses, price, and guarantee. Do not buy from fear or guilt. Consider it only if an 8-minute audio routine seems like a reasonable tool for the clarity you want to support. Use the description or pinned comment to examine the information, then decide from a calm and responsible place. Before you decide, 3 objections deserve an honest answer. You may have tried similar audio before. You may think the offer sounds too good. You may also believe that $39 or 8 minutes each day is more than you can give. Those concerns are reasonable. The next section will address them directly, because trust does not grow when difficult questions are ignored. You may still think that you have heard promises like this before. That reaction is reasonable. Many people have tried meditation tracks, focus music, and binaural audio without noticing a meaningful change. A previous disappointment does not prove every method is useless. It also does not prove this method will work for you. Examine what is different and allow your own experience to provide the answer. The Genius Switch is presented as a targeted auditory sequence, not ordinary background music. The material connects it with synchronization between mental capacities, while the routine asks for 8 minutes of listening. That may sound interesting, but interest is not evidence. Judge the source, guarantee, delivery method, and claims before spending money. You may think it sounds too good to be true. Keep that skepticism. It can protect you when it remains calm. There is a difference between a research concept, a product claim, and a personal testimonial. Research provides broad context. The presentation makes claims about the audio. User stories describe individual experiences. Those things are not identical. None guarantees your result. A responsible decision keeps those boundaries clear, because honest evaluation is stronger than excitement. You may feel that $39 is not small. That is true. Money represents work and responsibility, so no one should shame you for thinking carefully. The offer includes lifetime access, 4 bonuses, and a money-back guarantee under current terms. Those details reduce uncertainty, but they do not make the cost meaningless. Never spend money needed for food, housing, medicine, or essential bills. A tool for clarity should never create new financial pressure. Another concern is time. The audio takes about 8 minutes, which can fit before work, after prayer, or before sleep. 8 minutes is manageable for many people. It is not a promise of results. The value depends on whether the practice fits your life and whether you use it consistently enough to assess it. Here is the trust bridge. The audio cannot choose your direction. It cannot replace wisdom. It cannot remove the need for evidence, boundaries, effort, and responsible action. At most, it is presented as a support tool. Its purpose is to help attention, imagination, evaluation, and action cooperate more effectively. You have permission not to buy it. You also have permission to investigate it without shame. Read the official information, review the guarantee, and decide when your mind is calm. If this problem feels familiar, examine the Genius Switch through the official link in the description or pinned comment. Do not buy because you feel afraid. Consider it because you are ready to stop treating mental fog as a permanent identity. Review the routine, lifetime access, bonuses, current price, and refund terms. Think of one person who always says they are only tired. Maybe they once felt creative and alive, but now they cannot identify the next step. Share this message privately with that person. The final warning has nothing to do with purchasing a product. It concerns the decision you already know you have delayed, and the fear that keeps asking for one more sign. Now, the final warning can be understood. God is not telling you that disaster will arrive if you fail to buy something. He is not measuring your faith by a purchase. The warning concerns the condition from which you make your next decision. You have learned 3 truths. Silence does not always mean abandonment. Mental overload can hide what deserves attention. Clarity becomes useful only when it leads to responsible action. Choose one action within the next 24 hours. Write down the decision you have delayed. Remove one source of noise for a full day, or examine the Genius Switch with a calm mind. Do not choose all 3 to prove something. Choose one and complete it. A clear life is rebuilt through small promises that you finally keep to yourself. There is something you already know. It may concern a call, a boundary, a project, or a conversation. You keep asking for another sign because movement requires courage. Stop confusing delay with discernment. Discernment examines. Fear postpones. Wisdom moves carefully, but it still moves. May God quiet every voice that does not belong in your next season. May He help you separate fear from wisdom, pressure from purpose, and fantasy from a responsible opportunity. May the shame of exhaustion leave you. May you stop calling yourself broken because your mind has carried too much. May peace return before every important choice. May you find courage to test what is true. May you ask better questions, seek wise counsel, notice practical doors, and release the need for every answer to arrive with drama. You are not entering the next season as the exhausted version of yourself that survived the last one. You are entering awake, discerning, responsible, and ready to recognize what fear taught you to overlook. This does not mean every day will feel easy. It means doubt no longer receives the final vote when wisdom, evidence, faith, and responsible action point toward a step. The warning was never that your blessing would disappear tonight. It was never that refusing one offer would close heaven against you. The warning is simpler and more serious. Do not let an overloaded mind decide your future without support. Do not call mental fog your identity. Do not demand another sign when a responsible action is already in front of you. The signal was not proof that you were abandoned. It was an invitation to become still enough to notice, clear enough to evaluate, and courageous enough to answer. If the Genius Switch is the support you choose to investigate, use only the official link. Read the terms, check the guarantee, and decide from clarity, never fear. If you do not investigate it, Still take the lesson with you. Protect your attention. Create space for complete thoughts. Test your insights responsibly. Stop allowing yesterday to interpret every opportunity appearing today. Write, "I will not miss," what clarity reveals in the comments. Let those words mark a decision, not a superstition. Your life is serious. Your choices are serious. The clarity required to make them deserves protection. Chosen one, the warning was urgent because delay has a cost, but the message ends with hope because what was buried is not necessarily gone. The clear and creative person you remember may still be beneath the noise. Your next step does not require perfect certainty. It requires honesty, responsibility, and enough courage to begin. Now breathe. Identify the next faithful action. Protect the mind through which you will take it and move forward in peace.